sometimes and frustrated when it comes to peso cost averaging because it's not a proper alignment on what's the proper use for it, because at the end of the day, peso cost averaging will work if you are an investor. In this video, I want to talk about and double down on peso cost averaging. What are the scenarios that you think it will work and what are the scenarios when it will not work? Please remember that peso cost averaging does not work all the time. Peso cost averaging have conditions on where it will be the most effective for you, and that's what I want to drill on. So let's start off with this. Where are the scenarios where it will not work? Number one, peso cost averaging is not something that you would use if you are trading. Please remember, trading, the best tool that you can have and you can use is technical analysis. Or you can also use fundamentals by looking at it if it's cheap or expensive. But peso cost averaging is under the context that you are an investor. So, number two, where does peso cost averaging not work? If your time horizon is not long. Please remember, as what I've mentioned, you're in peso cost averaging because you want to be an investor. Given that you want to be an investor, I highly suggest that your time horizon should be at least 10 years. If it's less than that, then you won't be able to actually maximize it, especially if you are investing when the market is already relatively higher than where it was before. Because if you come in a bit late and you do peso cost averaging there, then it starts to drop. It may take some time also before it recovers. Meaning, if you invest peso cost averaging, kahit mabili nyo sa taas because you are investing for the long term, even if markets drop, there's a possibility that you can recover. And that's why I guess people get disappointed sometimes and frustrated when it comes to peso cost averaging because it's not a proper alignment on what's the proper use for it. Because at the end of the day, peso cost averaging will work if you are an investor. It does not work if you are buying companies that are speculative in nature. When I say speculative in nature, it's just moving not because it's really good. It's just moving for the short term because there's a lot of attention brought to it. The problem with that is this: there's a lot of attention into it. You do peso cost averaging. Once all of the price action is gone, once all of the attention is also gone, then most likely, you won't get any reward from it later on, even if you hold on to it for 2 years, for 5 years, for 7 years, for 10 years. No matter how long you hold on to it, if the fundamentals are not there, it's just basically speculative, time won't actually help you. So that being said, also, number 4, where does peso cost averaging not work? If you are buying companies, aside from it being speculative, that's not growing. Please remember, the underlying advantage of you investing using peso cost averaging is this: because the company is growing at whatever price you buy it today, later on in the future, because they're growing, probably right now they have 20 stores, then 10 years into the future they have 200 stores, then you are seeing a company that's growing, and in turn, because they're growing, the possibility for you to earn more will be much bigger also, because the company was much bigger already as to when you started investing. So before I proceed to when peso cost averaging will work, I want to talk about, for those who don't know what it is, what peso cost averaging is and what it does to you. Basically, peso cost averaging, or for those investing in US markets, dollar cost averaging, is you putting a specific amount of money on a regular basis that you allot either from your salary or from your commissions or from your business earnings that you get, and you put to buy a specific stock. I guess the biggest advantage of it is it removes your emotion, and I've been saying this in a lot of the videos that we've been making, that the stock market pretty much is something that's very emotional, that if you get scared, you tend to react on a negative way and you tend to sell or you tend to avoid. And if you are excited, even though it's too high already, it's too expensive already, it's not worth getting into, you still come into it, because stock market investing in general can tug a lot of emotions, especially it's your money that's on the line. So peso cost removes that, because you have already a specific area on when you will buy, you have already a specific area when you will add again and then you already have an ideology that, hey, I will not sell it yet. So it creates a system, and I think it's one of the most basic systems that people can follow, especially those that don't want to have a timing element into it, and for those who want to be long-term in the market. When does it work? I mentioned already a while ago that it has to be growing. So I sort of gave away one of the first advantages of it, that peso cost averaging will work if you are buying something that's growing, but not just growing, but also has the ability to have a higher value later on. So I've been saying it from a stock market context, but if you believe also that there are certain cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin or Ethereum that will be very, very relevant in the future, then you can also do peso cost averaging for that, or you can do dollar cost averaging for that, or you can do coin averaging for that. Because number two, when does peso cost averaging work? Peso cost averaging will work if you are building a base. It has to be that. Making money in the stock market is all about accumulation, but not just accumulation. It's about making that base bigger. And I've been saying this all the time. I would always pick wanting to have 10 million pesos earning at 10% than 1 million pesos earning at 100%, because as you have a larger base, konting galaw lang, you start to make money also. And since you've been doing peso cost averaging, there will be some issues there that you bought 10 years ago na gain na kayo. There will be some that you bought 5 years ago that your gain is slightly higher. Then you have the ones that you bought recently that will be subjected to some of the dips. But at the end of the day, if you accumulate and you build your base, that's when it becomes so powerful for you. Number three, peso cost averaging becomes so relevant and so useful if you're buying stocks that have dividends. If you can actually combine into stocks that have dividends and are still growing, that would be a very, very amazing combination for you. Why? Because while you're accumulating it, while you are not selling it, you are getting dividends on that particular position. While you're waiting, while you're not doing anything, you get compensated. And as you hold on to it for a longer period of time, as the stock price is increasing, assuming that the company is also doing well, then your dividends would also increase. And I think that's super, 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 super amazing, because as you are holding on to it, you already get compensated from the time that you are waiting. And by the time you are on your 10th year, your base is bigger and your cash flow will become massively, massively, massively more. So peso cost averaging will work, and I highly suggest that you are buying stocks that have dividends, because you get cash flow while you are holding on to the stock. Just also to give you disclosure, do I use peso cost averaging? I do not. I highly suggest peso cost averaging for people who don't use valuations or for people who don't use technical analysis. But if you do know how to use valuations, you do know how to use fundamental analysis, then that could be an element of what you can use. Instead of just putting and staggering it on a monthly basis when it's expensive, when you know valuations, I will not buy the stock when it's expensive. I will just time it and I will wait for it. When it's cheap, that's when I will start to enter. Secondly, also, you can do that using technical analysis, meaning you won't do peso cost averaging when it's zooming into its highs, or you won't do peso cost averaging when it's dropping massively. You can identify it when it's starting to consolidate on its lows and it's not trapping massively and it's also not pushing up. That's when you start accumulating as well. So it's nice to have a combination of that, you know a bit of valuations and you know a bit of technical analysis, because it will give you also a specific area on when you can accumulate. So you can do some sort of a hybrid where, sige, I'll put in money now, but if it's not yet telling me to buy, I would not enter that current position right now. I will have to wait first before it starts to consolidate again in its lows, and then I start to accumulate even further. Please remember also that you have to figure out also, you have to try and practice it yourself, because it doesn't work for everyone. Yung iba naiinip, and kung ikaw yung taong naiinip, maybe peso cost averaging may not work for you. Also, please remember that even if you're peso cost averaging and you are buying companies that are good, it will not be exempt from the stocks dropping. Meaning, pag bumagsak yung stock, matagal mo na siyang binibili pero it drops slower than your average, you will still have the ability to lose money on paper. Because anytime you invest in the stock market, it will never excuse you from the ability of losing money, or at least have the potential to have volatility. You will always have a chance, a shot of your money to go down, or at least have volatility to go down anytime you invest in the stock market. And please remember, it's part of the game. But here's the thing, anytime you do it like that you allocate money to something that has growth or has the potential to go higher, then what's nice about that and what's interesting about that is, in spite of the volatility over the long run, in my opinion, it's something that becomes also rewarding. So what I'll do is this: if you want to drill down on certain case studies and certain definitions that I had on peso cost averaging, the videos of that are coming out right here. I'll also put the link in the description below so that you guys can learn more about it. And for those who don't know me, my name's Marvin Germo. I'm a stock market trader and investor. And if you want to know naman how I time stocks, how I select stocks, how I pick stocks, I have an online Zoom class happening end of February 2021. Link is in the description below if you want to join us. So it will be interactive still. It will be a live Zoom class, so at least we get to interact and ask questions, and we get to all see each other again. So for those who want to join that, I hope to see you there. And for those who want to learn via books, I have books down below. Then aside from my books, I also have YouTube videos where we have over 1,800 videos already that you can consume and you can watch, and I do hope it massively helps you decide on how you're supposed to trade the market. So whatever you choose to consume info on, either reading books, watching my YouTube videos, or attending the Zoom class, whatever works for you, go for it. Because at the end of the day, you are your greatest asset. You will only go as high as what you have deployed attention on and time on. Because as you continue to learn, you get better, and as you continue to learn, you get exposed to the right information that you get to also decide properly. You would be able to differentiate what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I just have also an announcement, guys. I started TikTok. I'm in TikTok. So for those who want less than 1 minute videos, we have that on TikTok. I have not really been doing videos about that before. I tried it a couple of years back. I saw that, hey, this has the potential to continually push up. Then I stopped. Then I did 3 videos during the lockdown with my wife. So kung may nakita yung dance videos na kasama wife ko, that's during the height of the lockdown. Then after that, I stopped making. Then I intentionally made videos again at the start of the years. So there, I hope this helped you, and I hope that this is something that gave you the right foundation to be able to invest. And since this is coming out on a Friday, guys, always use your weekend also to help build your skill, or to help draw you closer and closer and closer and closer to your dreams of financial freedom. Because at the end of the day, it's all about how much is your ambition, how big is your goal, and deploying as much time for it for you to be able to reach your goals. Because never ever waste the prime years of your life doing things that don't matter for you for the long term. So that's it for now. Marvin Germo, I'm always on your side. I'm always rooting for you, because I really believe that out of the 218 subscribers watching us here in YouTube, you guys are meant for greatness. You guys are gonna do even bigger and better things than I did. And what's interesting is I got a message from Instagram saying, how to be you po? No, you're not gonna be like me. You're gonna do even better than me. And that's the goal, that's the desire, and that's why I do videos like this, because I want you guys to be elevated, that you reach heights that you never thought you could ever do. But I hope that this channel pushes you to be all you can be, and I hope that this channel pushes you to be entrepreneurial, to save money, and to invest, because you deserve so much more. So that's it for now. This is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.